G'day guys, we're down by the coast today at Bushrangers Bay to show you how you can get some really cinematic footage from your drone. Alright, so today I'm rocking the DJI Mavic 2, which is still a really great drone today. Obviously, if I was on a bigger, more professional shoot, I'd get something like the DJI Inspire, but for what I need, this drone is still perfect to use. So when filming with the drone, it is pretty much like filming with a regular camera, except that it can fly. So you got to go in with the same processes and mentality as you would when you're filming with a regular camera. So firstly, you want to set your settings correctly in your drone. So if you go into your drone app and you go to your manual settings here, firstly you want to set your video size here to full 4K at 25 frames per second. So there you're already going to get some really nice cinematic drone footage. So then you want to go over to your manual panel here and you want to go down and you want to change your shutter speed so it's at 1/50th of a second. So we go with the general rule that if you're shooting at 25 frames per second, you generally want to double your shutter speed. So you go to 1/50th of a second. Just like in a regular camera, I usually use zebras to control my exposure. And what's a really good tip here, so if we go to 2.8, as you can see, everything is really blown out. So we just want to bring that down to say about, close the aperture to about 50th, and what's really helpful is to use ND filters. Surprises me how many people don't use ND filters on their drones. I mean, just like you would with your camera, you generally always shoot with an ND. You're letting way too much light into the camera, so it's stopping you from bringing that shutter speed down to 1/50th, which keeps it true to 25 frames per second. So before you get flying, you want to check what log format you're shooting in. So if we go back over to our settings panel, you can see here that the color is set to D-Log. That'll give you the greatest flexibility to color grade when you get to your editing. All right, so once you got that sorted, I've got 5 tips to show you now to get really good cinematic drone footage. The first movement I think is the easiest, which is tilting. So you typically use tilting to reveal an object or location. So I typically recommend that you start off either pointing the drone towards the ground or up towards the sky, and then using the dial on the back of your remote, slowly tilt that camera up to reveal that location. A panning shot is great to show more details of an environment or landscape. You can spice up this image by moving the drone and panning at the same time. And a really hot tip is to frame a subject in the middle of the image and try and keep them framed while you're panning around that subject. You'll need to practice to get this right, but panning and tilting at the same time is a great way to follow a subject or reveal a location. Once you've learnt these 2 basic movements and you've combined them together, you're pretty much ready for more advanced techniques and the world is your playground. A bird's eye view shot is a great way to creatively showcase your landscape and environment. By adding movement to your image, especially to a bird's eye view shot, by changing the altitude or moving the drone forward and backward, gives you a lot more interest to your shot. Get confident with your drone and start using the environment to your story's advantage. And I would typically do this by flying close to the environment. It's easy enough to get the drone really high up, get some really shots, get what you need. Get that drone closer to the ground and use the environment to reveal your location. So once you get your drone footage, it's really important to color grade it, correct it, make it similar to the regular on the ground cameras that you're using, and that drone footage should fit in quite nicely and look really cinematic. That's all I got for you guys today. Make sure you get out there and film, practice your drone techniques. Just remember not to overuse your drone footage and only use it where it's necessary for the story, such as establishing an environment or location. So get out there, practice, and try not to crash.